I cannot believe that we're already in the back half of 2024.
Are you kidding me?
But here we are. Before you know it, the calendar will be turning again, and that means we are already getting ready for 2025 conferences, and one that I'm personally very excited to attend again is the Insights EDU conference. If you care at all about growing enrollment and building a student-centered higher ed experience, you really should be at this conference. Registration is now open, so secure your spot while early bird pricing is still available. Visit insightsedu.com for more information and to register. That's visit insightsedu.com for more information and to register.
Hey everybody, this is Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience, and today we are extremely excited to announce our paid subscription service. By subscribing today, you will get exclusive early access to ad-free episodes, extended episodes, bonus episodes, original content. That's right, original content and invites to special events, all while helping to sustain EdUp. To become a subscriber, go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com and subscribe to our free email newsletter to learn how you can get access. Again, go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com.
Welcome back, everybody. It's your time to EdUp on the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business, hopefully in the most fun way possible. Here on EdUp, as you know, and I've told all my guests, as I said to my guest today, we leave in all of our mistakes. We leave in mistakes. We have technical difficulties. I fumble over my words, but it all stays in because it's a good representation of what we do in higher education, particularly after a delayed FAFSA. We fumble, we bumble, and we bring in as many students as we can. By the way, if you've been watching the news, you know FAFSA is delayed again till December 1st. So no sooner do we finish this recruiting cycle that we have to prepare for another disrupted recruiting cycle. Boy, oh boy, parent communication is on my mind. Parent communication. I have my niece and my sister-in-law just went through getting packages in June and July and making a last-minute decision, and you just hope that the forces that be will allow it to go much smoother this year so we can take care of parents who take care of the students. Of course, we have a lot of adult students out there that are looking to do the same thing for themselves, but you do feel for people that had a really, really hard time making choices, which is why affordability is so critical in this industry. It's so critical that we have an affordable education for students and help everybody we can. We're continuing to bring amazing leaders on this podcast. I've been looking very forward to this gentleman that I'm going to talk to today because he's doing some very interesting, groundbreaking, necessary work in a state that is seeing its challenges, and he's having great success. And those are the kind of people we want to talk to here on EdUp. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get him to the mic right now because he's got a lot to say. He is Dr. Ron Cole. He's the president of Allegheny College. Ron, welcome to an EdUp mic.
Thank you, Joe. It's great to be here with you.
How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day here in northwestern Pennsylvania. We have our students moving back this weekend. Our enrollment this fall is up over 10% where it was the last 2 years.
Fantastic.
So we've got some great momentum.
Okay, so you said a lot already, and so I have 100 questions I wasn't prepared to ask you. So we're going to just start with the Pennsylvania part. You're in Northwest Pennsylvania. For anybody that's watching higher ed news, Pennsylvania is probably one of the most disrupted states when it comes to higher education, closures, mergers, state system, cooperatives. I mean, there's just a lot going on in the state. It's highly competitive. A lot of institutions in that area, New York, Pennsylvania, Jersey, so on. How are you doing it? That's the main question. What's happening? Are you seeing the disruption in the state? And what do you think? Too many questions. How are you doing it? Let's start there.
Joe, we're doing it by investing in our students and the student experience and by demonstrating the value of an Allegheny College education in new ways. You know, we know in higher ed that the value proposition is long tested. And I've come to appreciate that, at least I believe, the issue isn't the value of a degree, but it's the perception of the value of college education. There's a difference.
So
right?
true.
So there's plenty of evidence. We all know this, that a college degree has value, particularly with a liberal arts education, right? So I can list countless reports, data over the last several years
We don't
from,
care about no stinking data. Anybody that
well,
doesn't care about the value of a degree just ignores the data, let's be quite honest. And it's really hard to ignore.
the data is hard to ignore, in the fact that uh, places, of course, the College Board, but Lumina Foundation,
Yeah.
Gallup Foundation, the National
Georgetown.
Center for Education Statistics, Georgetown, right, all have studies that clearly demonstrate that those who attain a college degree have higher earnings. There's no question that there's value in a college degree, and that's across all sectors, across gender and race and so on. Beyond financial value, this is something that is a little harder to measure, right? But is also part of the equation. Beyond financial value, I was interested to read Lumina and Gallup's research that shows stronger outcomes for college graduates in non-financial areas, personal health, character, civic engagement, and even relationships. You may be familiar with a book authored by Rick Detweiler, published in 2021, The Evidence Liberal Arts Needs. And Rick's book shows further empirical evidence for the value specifically of liberal arts education, leading to greater success in leadership, altruism, being connected to community, learning, and basically fulfillment over a lifetime. And there are two things in particular that struck me, and I'll get back to what we're doing at Allegheny here. There are two things in particular that struck me in Rick's book that make a link between a liberal arts educational experience and stronger outcomes. One of them is the opportunity for students to engage with faculty out of the classroom, not on class matters, not on course matters, right? As mentors, as, talking about life in, broadly. And that doesn't happen in large lecture halls, right? But it's central to the value proposition of us at Allegheny College. And that is resonating with our prospective students. The second is taking, for a student to take more than half of their classes outside of the student's major field of study. And that's another core value proposition that we offer at Allegheny. And a distinction for us is that we require students to complete a major and a minor in two completely different areas of study. Now, a student can pick a major and a minor at almost any campus, but very few, if any, have that as a graduation requirement. We've built into our curriculum that a student needs to understand the world from multiple perspectives, right? That resonates because what we've found with our prospective students, Gen Z particularly, and Gen P coming forward, the post-pandemic generation, they want to be the change. They want to make a difference. But they want to have some freedom to explore their intellectual curiosity, but they also, we realized, want some structure within which to do this. And that's where this curriculum has really, I think, been a benefit to us. So when the students know that they can do that at Allegheny, it really connects. Now, coupled with that, man, Joe, we know what our students, and particularly their parents, are looking for value of higher ed. I've been to admissions events for decades, and years ago, families would show up and they know they would get a transformational education. Now, generalizing, families show up and they know that transformation can occur, but they also say, more or less, here's our tuition dollars. Now, what do we get for it? What's the outcome for? Yeah, what's the outcome for my student? And so we have to do a great job at showing how our education prepares students for their immediate outcomes, jobs, getting into graduate and professional schools. So demonstrating those outcomes has been part of how we've been able to help students choose Allegheny. Now, couple that with conversations I've had with alumni from across generations, and I've learned something important that also resonates with our prospective students. alumni have shared with me that Allegheny prepared them, sure, for what may have been their first job, but because of the multidisciplinary learning, because of the skills that they've acquired, those transferable skills in critical thinking and problem solving and research and communication skills, because of those things, Allegheny prepared them for the jobs they didn't know they'd have, and certainly the jobs that don't exist yet. So here's something that resonates with our prospective students and families. I'll say that Allegheny can prepare students for jobs that they think they'd want. But in 4 years' time, I'm not even sure we know where all the jobs are going to be. Right? Things are changing so fast. But I can guarantee that the educational experience they'll get will prepare them to be nimble in that in those evolving career paths. Those are the types of things that have resonated. Couple that with investments we're making across our campus, which I believe are part of the value proposition. We've been fortunate to have record-breaking fundraising over the past couple of years to invest in the student experience. We have several major capital projects going on for academic buildings, residence hall, our athletic complex, and a new center for research and teaching excellence that we're launching. All of these are core to the student experience, and I think having our prospective students and our current students hear about the investments that we're making also is helping to convince them that they might want to come to Allegheny because they see us investing in their experience going forward. So there's not one, I wish there was one, though, that metaphorical silver bullet that I could say, this is what we should do and we'll be successful. It's a portfolio of things, but it boils down, I believe, to showing the value added for your institution, how that translates into outcomes, and how it translates into connecting a student with the campus community for a sense of belonging, a sense of efficacy in that community.
I like your style, dude.
Maybe the silver bullet isn't a thing, but it's an intention. And so what I hear you saying is we are intentionally we're not waiting for the rest of higher education to define the value to students that are thinking about Allegheny College. We're going to take the bull by the horns, and we're going to define what our value is to the students that we want to recruit. We're going to intentionally go out there and say, we have this. It's like feature and benefit sales. We have this. Here's how it benefits you. Higher ed is statistically, historically not good at that. We just kind of go, we have this, and if you want to come on in. And in a highly competitive market, that doesn't work. You have to go out and you have to, the word sell, you have to be able to get in front of a student and say, you should choose Allegheny College and here is why. If you don't do that, there's so much other noise, the student might just go somewhere else completely, or they form their own opinion and not go to school at all.
Exactly. And we know, Joe, that we know of the demographic cliff. And with even those fewer traditional age students in the pipeline going forward, there's a growing percentage of those students that are choosing not to go to a four-year college. So that adds to the tension, to the competition, if you will. And so it behooves us to do exactly what you said. We need to step up. Higher education, I said it's perception of value, not the actual value. Every person who's engaged in higher education, I think, can speak well to the value that they see in what's happening in colleges and universities. But for some reason, we've lost ground on how the public perceives that value. And that's where we have work to do. And that's what we're trying to do here. And it's basically, there are ways we're doing this that I'll say are stepping out and being more innovative. The business model for higher education has to evolve. And core to innovation, I believe, is something that's rooted and rooted in and sprouted from core strengths, right? It's hard to innovate out of thin air. You have to
That's for
innovate,
sure.
innovate from something core to what you have. And what I described earlier about this innovation for interdisciplinary learning, our major and minor combinations, if we're demonstrating to our students that that's a business model in higher ed through which they can be successful. So, man, think of a grand challenge. Do we have any of those in the world today? Right. So, any grand challenge that I've been aware of that we try to solve isn't solved by one person thinking in one way with one expertise. It takes teams across disciplines to be able to work effectively together and bring different points of view and different expertise to bear. That resonates, right? And so what I would describe as a core innovation for Allegheny is really leaning in to that multidisciplinary approach. And from that, to be a little more tangible, we've launched new academic programs of late that align with existing academic programs that lean into that strength. One of our existing ones, we just celebrated 50 years of environmental science at Allegheny. It's now environmental science and sustainability. And that program was one of the first in the country. It's truly interdisciplinary. It combines science with policy and humanities. And graduates with an environmental science and sustainability degree find themselves doing everything from practicing law to actually going into med school to helping to shape policy, working in health professions, being educators. So that's a long-standing program. More recently, as another example of leaning into this value of interdisciplinary learning, we launched something called Public Humanities, which is an interdisciplinary major that cuts across the humanities, social sciences, and even STEM fields. So students interested in art, history, politics, technology, health and well-being can major in public humanities with outcomes that might be in the areas of digital content creation, urban design, archival work, library science, arts administration. All of those are outcomes that students could have from that degree, but it's a different model than the traditional higher ed model of having a narrowly defined area of study, right? It's integrating areas of study. I firmly believe in depth of learning. Don't get me wrong. This isn't a watering down of a curriculum. This is really leveraging strengths in a curriculum around, in a way, thematic learning. And that's really served us well. We also launched the major in healthcare management, which is a partnership between several academic programs: business and economics, global health studies, political science, psychology, philosophy for ethics. All of those things are integrated so that the next generation of healthcare administrators, I want them to have a liberal arts education from Allegheny College, because I know they're going to be doing their job in the ways that will best serve society, right? As well as hopefully advancing their own business initiatives. One more quick example.
Yeah, go ahead.
Our computer science program, it's now computer and data science, another very long-standing program that's been at Allegheny College. We know the field of computer science has changed, evolved in many ways at rapid pace.
Artificial intelligence.
You said it, right? So but in our computer science program, computer and data science, I describe them as breaking the mold for undergraduate computer and data science. As a quick example, the most recent faculty that we've hired into that program, we have 6 full-time faculty there now. One of them has a PhD in music. Another has an MFA in creative writing. Another has an MFA in sculpture. And these are experts in software design and computer science and technology, integrating those terminal degrees in other areas with what they're doing in the classroom and applying here at Allegheny. So I believe that higher education needs to demonstrate our value by showing, as you said earlier, how the education matters, how it connects to real world issues that we need to figure out today. And I can go on with other academic programs.
No, that's you know what, this is good stuff. And, I love to go under the hood when the opportunity presents itself. And one of the under the hood challenges that you have when you create interdisciplinary degrees, or at least one that I have encountered in my career, is, well, who gets the credit? Where's the program sit? Where's how do I, if I have 4 electives from my humanities department, how do I get the revenue for those because I have a budget? And if how do I get the revenue? Or is the revenue coming in per course and you're sharing it? You get these WIFM, right? It's like WIFM things, like where's the program sit? Who owns it? Who controls it? Who's approving it? Those details are some of the bureaucracies and inertia that have prevented innovation in higher education this whole time. How do you navigate those? How have you navigated some of those challenges? Calling all higher ed marketing and enrollment management professionals. Hear, hear. The Insights EDU conference is back. This is your chance to level up your marketing and enrollment management strategies, and the EdUp Experience podcast will be there once again. Join us at the Ritz-Carlton, New Orleans, February 12th through 14th for an unforgettable conference. Registration is now open with early bird pricing.
Outstanding.
Hey, everybody. This is Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience. Are you enjoying the conversation so far? Good. I hope so. Did you know that you can actually hear this conversation early before anybody else and ad free, so you don't have to hear my voice during these ads? And did you also know that you could get extended episodes, bonus episodes, original content? That's right, original content and invites to special events, all while helping to sustain EdUp? Well, if you didn't know, now you know. So go to edupexperience.com, that's EDUP experience.com, and become a subscriber today. First, you got to sign up to our free email newsletter, and then you'll find out how to become a subscriber. Again, go to edupexperience.com.
I love the question, Joe. And at Allegheny, we've decided that we're not going to call things necessarily. We're not going to divide up the academic programs and curriculum in humanities and social science and natural science. We have other categories. And one of those we've labeled as interdivisional. So rather than have the model where courses from different departments might apply, which we do have majors that use courses from different other departments, environmental science, global health studies, public humanities, those are independent academic programs that where faculty might teach in other areas, but they have a central core curriculum. I think that in a way they're standalone programs that I think helps provide the identity that gets at some of the issues you've been describing. So who gets the credit is somewhat taken care of because of the structures that we built around it. Structures matter, right?
They do.
And so that's one of the ways. And another, it's, I'll say, so I've had the pleasure of being at Allegheny as a faculty member before I was president, and also as provost and dean of the college. So I have a long history at Allegheny. And so I've seen some of this from the ground up over time. And I can say that what happens in these areas is truly organic. It's part of the DNA. And so this wouldn't work well by trying to force fit it to a culture or in an institution, but we naturally gravitate to ways that we can blend students' learning across disciplines.
We talked before we started the recording, we started talking about alignment. And I want to bring it back up because I think it's just like if I was going to take away anything from this conversation we're about to have, it would be this piece that alignment is so critical, right? And a job of a president in this day and age, particularly now, is inspirational. You have to inspire your team to lead with passion, to look at things outside the box, and to be aligned around the vision of student experience or of new programs or of serving the market. And if there is a crack in that alignment, maybe it's somebody who says, you know what, these aren't really the students that we serve. We've always served this other student. I don't know why this guy's making us serve these students now. Or maybe it's, well, we've always been on ground, or we've always been online, and now we're going on, and you have those people that kind of stir the pot, but it can create cracks in that alignment. But alignment is the key to innovation, because once you have all your minds, your brilliance, thinking in the same way, you can do whatever you want. The sky's the limit. But if you've got cracks in that armor, that's where stalling happens. You get stuff stuck in a committee, it doesn't hit deadlines, the market changes around you, then somebody else puts out the exact same program you were going to put out, and it's like, well, we're not going to do it now. What have you done, and how have you maintained the alignment that you need to create change within Allegheny?
Well, that's a really key topic. It doesn't happen overnight. Alignment is not something you just decide we're going to have. It
just disappointed a lot of listeners, Ron.
and I'll say that I believe that we're on a good pathway to alignment at Allegheny. Are we fully there yet? I'd say not completely, but we're getting pretty darn close. And here's how I think we've gotten to where we are. The priorities at Allegheny have been tried and true. We've had consistent priorities that are focused around student success over time. What I believed has helped in recent years is shaping those priorities around a framework that folks across campus and our alumni base, our broader Allegheny community, can see themselves in and see the identity of Allegheny, that DNA that we don't want to unravel, that core liberal arts experience is here. And with that, how do we take that and what's the pathway forward for Allegheny? So I used pathway a few times intentionally because we invoked in a strategic process, and we resisted using the term strategic plan because plans sit on shelves like what's in back of me. Pathways have direction, right? Yeah. And so I think that mindset has been helpful. What's our pathway forward? And then providing a process. It was an ambitious timeline, what we went through, but providing a process in which stakeholders from around campus could feel that they were a part of. And so we had, through this process, of course, students and faculty and staff, administrators, alumni, board of trustees, parents, and members of our greater Meadville community, the town in which we're fortunate to have our college, all had input into this designing and shaping the goals of our pathway. So I think process matters. It was an ambitious timeline. And because of that, we still have work to do to help people come along and continue to engage in this pathway. So we launched this last year. And as the pathway unfolds, we're continuing to find ways to get input. Over the summer, I held 2 different all-employee gatherings, state of the college engagement sessions. And employees attended, and I gave some updates. But then we went into our campus center lobby and had small group table discussions with, a couple hundred people in the lobby, all discussing together with people they may not have interacted with before around campus, the goals of our pathway. And the prompts were pretty simple. Provide some feedback and questions about these goals. And that was totally helpful because from that, I understood maybe what wasn't resonating or got some really good ideas for how we could shape things going forward, right? it's those little things over time that I think build alignment. And if I may, I'd like to share what I told you earlier before the recording about when we talk about
Not
change.
all of it, Ron. You don't want to say everything you said to me. Some of those things. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. So change doesn't happen overnight, and it takes incremental work over time, and we shouldn't take for granted the culture of an institution. I'm fortunate because I know Allegheny College, and I think I understand the culture. I also need to understand how external perspective can help shape our future. I'll use this analogy. If I walk through my own living room and it's a little messy, I might not notice it because I see it every day.
It's fuzzy math.
Yeah. So when I have a guest coming over, I might look at that through different eyes. And so we always need that external perspective for our own campuses, for our own businesses, right? So I always value that. But culture matters. And everybody's heard this. Culture eats strategy for any meal of the day. If you don't have that down, then the strategies you have will probably not be as effective.
Yeah, and many who've tried to create change in higher ed without alignment could write article dissertations on that fact, that culture will eat that strategy up if there is a lack of alignment. You say language matters, and I agree, language matters in higher ed. And what really resonated with me from your strategic pathways was the word pathways versus plan. That resonated with me because it was different, and you wrote about it, and I went, "Oh wow, that's unique," because a pathway says it's going to continue, a plan says it's ending, and you got to do a new one, and we're ever evolving in higher ed. And for academics who have long history of wordsmithing, that can be a big difference on mindset, and it's mindset that helps create alignment, right? Because you got to get everybody on the same page, right? You got to have the right mindset if you want to grab alignment. So all of those things matter to get to a point where you can execute these plans and get 10% lift in your enrollment, which many universities around you or across the country are not seeing right now. So we're seeing a lot of market disruption. You called business innovation the model of higher education. You've come out and you've said we have to do things differently. There's a lot of voices out there that say we have to do things a little bit differently, and then there are many that try it and don't do it. So there is a part of it that the execution comes after all of that, right?
Yeah, and so that's right now we're in execution phase, we're in delivery phase, and that's the hardest part, right? Helping to set those metrics and the goals that we need to achieve, and how are we going to how are we going to know what we're trying to do is working? And that's where it's going to be unique for each goal, each strategy, each institution. But that process of setting up those milestones where things are something is working or it's not, and if it's not working, rather than have an approach that is punitive, rather than have an approach where there's fear around sharing, wow, this isn't going the way I thought it would. We need to have an approach that's collaborative, where a team can get together and say, oh my gosh, all right, this isn't working well. How can we fix it? How can we improve it? And if it's not going to work, let's stop doing it. Right. And
right.
That's another thing that we have
as
trouble.
Soon as possible. Right.
Right. But there's one other facet here that I'd love to share, Joe, around innovation and in our business model of higher ed. We have this 4-year construct, and there's nothing truly magic about that, but it's our construct. Okay, that's most of where our students live right now.
Yep.
But we also have to think differently. And at Allegheny, what we started to do was look across our region in Western Pennsylvania. We're a national liberal arts school, and will remain a national liberal arts school. About half our students come from outside of Pennsylvania, right? But right in our region is an incredible economic base in advanced manufacturing, right? So it used to be called the tool and die capital of the world. That drums up images of of grinding tools on by hand. That's not the thing anymore. Right now, it's computer driven. It's high-end technology that's making precision parts for the aerospace industry, for the automotive industry, for all sorts of technologies. It's using robots and automation. And we do those types of things at Allegheny. And so a few years ago, I started to have conversations with folks in our manufacturing sector here about ways we might partner, building internship opportunities, research opportunities. And Joe, it was stunning and it was revealing. What I heard back metaphorically was, "Oh, you're Allegheny College. You don't have anything we need."
Yikes!
So I was asking the wrong question, wasn't I? I started asking, well, what do you need? After I did that, I found out that I'll say roughly half of what I heard, we already did.
Surprise.
Another portion we could do. And there's some things that we won't do. It's not in our bandwidth. It's not in our DNA, right? So fast forward, we're now partnering or part of, I'll say, workforce and economic development in our region. We're offering literally workshops to upskill people already employed in our manufacturing industry to meet employer needs. So we have a list from employers of the things, the skills, the competencies they need. If they match up with things that we can deliver or we can build capacity to deliver, we're going to do that. And it's really taken off. We have I want to say we have relationships now with our region that I haven't seen before. And I'm going to reflect back on what I said earlier, being part of, not just partnering with, is critical. And there's a difference. And I learned that from a student who was part of our strategic pathway process, a local student, somebody from the greater Meadville region, who said, "Man, when I was growing up, I always saw Allegheny as part of Meadville, and we always talk about partnering with Meadville." And that changed my thinking. And I thank that student for helping me understand that. And so that change in mindset, and I love that you used that earlier, mindset matters. That set me on a different course for how we can be part of this region in ways that we haven't. And because of that, we're now going to be offering not only workshops to help workforce development for our local industry partners, which is broadening who we serve, isn't it? Right. Yep. So we're not giving up on our traditional core liberal arts. That's our core mission. But in addition, we're taking the liberal arts and showing how that can empower education in other ways with other types of students. In fact, because of the things we're doing, we are putting a stake in the ground for showing how the liberal arts intersects emerging technologies in really exciting ways. So that's again, that's innovation. It's not giving up what we do, but it's building from it. And it's not, you don't have to wipe the slate clean, right, to innovate. That actually can be really destructive. So I'm a firm believer in building on strengths and leaning into those to improve an organization.
I love what you've said, because if you go into something like that and you expand who you serve and you have alignment around doing that, that service helps you change your business model. You have to change your policy structure that you've built for a different type of student. You look at your prior learning assessment, your credit for prior learning, and you go, oh, we're serving this other type of student now, so we need to change this policy to account for these workshops if we want to give credit for them, or maybe when you want them to stack into a degree. If you don't have that alignment going into that service, then that student that hits that traditional policy structure just gets wrapped up in it, can't navigate it. It's not built for them. So if you have that alignment, you can really do great things to serve multiple students, because you become a more flexible type of institution and organization. Not everybody can do it. It's true. I mean, I see institutions fail at it every single day. And it's like, I always come back to the same thought: alignment, mindset and alignment, mindset and alignment. It's always about, have you created a vision? Do you have people around that vision? vision? Is everybody aligned around serving the student? Because as much as I hear student first in this industry, I can't tell you how many people or structures and policies are absolutely not. They're absolutely not student first. And student service, and we're going to talk about this a little bit when we come back to our subscriber episode. What does student service mean these days? How do we define it? How do we jump into it? But I want to save that question. I want to give you the last couple of moments for this episode and say, what else, open mic for you, what else do you want to say about Allegheny College?
So Allegheny College is investing in our future. To your point, we're investing in the student experience. We have to be intentional to look at what our structures are in higher education and dismantle those structures when they're barriers. And that's what we're doing at Allegheny College. To your point about systems, the system we had 10 years ago may not be the system that serves our students of today and of tomorrow. We have to be open to changing those systems. And I'll end with this, that I expect of our Allegheny College community that we model what we ask of our students: critical thinking, creativity, innovation. Those are the things that we ask of our students. That's core to who we are. And that's what I expect us to do going forward. And I think we're doing it. And I'm very proud of the work that I see happening at Allegheny College.
Well, there you have it, everybody. An incredible episode here with a trailblazing leader. In fact, I think I read, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought you were a grad of Allegheny College. Are you a graduate?
I am
won't
indeed.
give the year because, it's so recent that you graduated from that because you look so young. But you that doesn't hurt when you're trying to develop passion and value, when you've personally felt it and you can communicate that value. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today, he's your guest today. He's Dr. Ron Colt, president of Allegheny College. Ron, we hope you had fun today.
I did. Thank you, Joe, very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've just ed up. Higher education is evolving. And if you're in marketing and enrollment management, then you need to be at the Insights EDU conference.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Insights EDU 2025 is happening February 12 through 14 in New Orleans, Louisiana. This is your chance to explore the latest trends in higher education and discover new and innovative strategies to level up your program marketing and enrollment. Hear from some of the best speakers in the industry, from companies like Google, LinkedIn, Adobe, and more. Registration is now open, so secure your spot while early bird pricing is still available.
Hey, everybody. This is Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience. Did you enjoy that conversation? I hope you did. Did you know that you can actually hear this conversation early on and ad-free? And you can also hear extended episodes, bonus episodes, original content. That's right, original content, and invites to special events, all while helping to sustain EdUp. Did you know that? Well, if you didn't know, now you know. To become a subscriber, go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com to subscribe to our free email newsletter to learn how you can get access. Again, that's edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com.